What's up? Here I have a post from a guy called Imran Khorshid. Now, before I get into the post, I'm just going to show you this here. This guy's been backed by Fianna Fáil. So all of these uniparty parties have decided to align themselves with foreigners. It's quite interesting that because the foreigners that they decide to take under their wing don't tend to behave. They tend to say inflammatory and stupid things, and I think they don't understand that this is a country that you get a little bit of time, and then people make their judgments about what you're about, and they stick with that judgment. This is the thing. There's nobody that holds a grudge like the Irish. The Irish hold a massive grudge. 800 plus years of oppression from the British. We won't be ever forgetting that though. And that's what these people seem to mistake. They seem to think, oh, you're going to forget about this. No. Anytime you people say this, and especially with the background that this guy is from Pakistan, the same place that Dr. Umar Al-Qadri is from. So there's a link now between stupidity and stupid comments coming out from that country now, just in itself, because these two guys now have attributed themselves to silly comments like this, and people then look at it and say, nah, not for me. And who are you? You're linked in with that. You see, the likes of the media want to call you racist and want to call Irish people racist and the Irish country racist. We're seeing TikTok videos emerge as well, particularly from Africans, saying that this is a racist country. Ireland and the Irish people are not racist, but they're going to be. Because when you keep poking your finger into the eye of the bear is going to snap eventually. And right now, I would say that Ireland is very akin to maybe Teddy Ruxpin, insofar as people are still kind of on the precipice of like, something's really wrong here, but I don't really want to say. Most people are starting to look at things now. When you have the Red Sea poll saying 75% of the people that were polled think that the government has done a horrendous job with immigration, that's going to just spill over now into the mainstream society, because most people are noticing things now. They're noticing, for example, that it's taking longer for them to get a hospital appointment. That's because you've got other bums on seats now waiting in front of you, and they're from different places, not only just this country. School places are being taken up as well. This is another thing that's been brought to the fore. You've got people that are supporting Bohemians Football Club that say refugees welcome, and then saying, I can't get a school place. Is it any wonder? You know what I mean? Put two and two together there. These people will be telling you that's a nistophobe thing to say that as well, by the way. But anyway, so you've got that issue, and then you've also got other issues then as well, like the drain on the economy, for example. If we had less people in this country, and I mean if we stopped importing people, then people would be paid a fair wage, because right now if you're in a low skilled job, anyone can do that job. So that's, and I mean this now because I had people that were canvassing at the door that went with this argument, but if we didn't have foreigners, there'd be nobody working in the petrol station. Listen, I remember petrol stations when they weren't run by Indian people. I remember that when I was a 15, 16-year-old lad running the place, and that was grand, and he was earning a few bob. Do you know what I'm saying? But he was earning a good few bob because there wasn't that many people around that could do it. But these people in the government are all about, let's get the corporation and let's replace these people. It's part of their goal. So when you look at this here and you look at the inflammatory language that's coming from these people, and that inflammatory language, in my opinion, is on purpose. And if it isn't, these people are complete morons to be doing that, because you're doing it in the wrong country. As I said, 800 years of British oppression hasn't been forgotten about. We hold a grudge. You're saying silly things, it's going to be remembered. So what you have here is Imran Khorshid has gone with this here in his profile. Solicitor, Notary Public, Council Member, the Law Society of Ireland, Secretary, Fianna Fáil Migrants Network Committee. Comments are retweet, not endorsed. So you have Fianna Fáil now are also linked to a person here now that's posted this out and has decided to go with some silly commentary, because we'll get through it now. But before I even jump into this, because that's a mother of all ratios it is there. Imran Khorshid is from Pakistan, as I said, and Dr. Umar Al-Qadri is from Pakistan also. That is a country with a population, I'm going to say it, 240.5 million. I'm going to say it once more. 240.5 million. Ireland is a country with roughly 5 million. I want to make this very clear. We have one country. This isn't a Tesco. This isn't a McDonald's. It's not a franchise. It's not like you can transfer it to somewhere else, like a football club, and say everything's going to be hunky-dory over there and our people are over there. That's not how it is. We have one country, and that is it. So for anyone that wants to say, oh, but the diaspora, forget about it. The diaspora could come home tomorrow and everyone would welcome them back, and they are Irish. But when you're looking at people running into our country and then saying, we should run things, we come from a shithole, but I'm telling you what, I should run things here. Hang on here for a second. We've done very well to establish ourselves and to remain established for as long as we have. We don't need anybody else coming in here. We have enough gombeans of our own doing negative things here in this country without adding more. And not only that, but people coming from another place that hasn't worked out too well. It's like taking advice from a guy who's a carpenter, but the carpenter is useless. He hasn't an idea how to put a nail into a plank of wood, and yet he's coming over going, you should totally nail it this way. No thanks, we're alright, we've the nail gun here, it's fine. We're doing alright, we don't need you. What are you bringing to the table that's different? I'm bringing diversity. Diversity. That's just another way of saying less white people, because that's what that means to me, and that's what it means to the rest of the world. Look, if I decided to run over to Pakistan and said, right lads, I think he's got to change our ways, I'm the minority here in the country, I think you don't suit me, I think we should make it a Christian country, I think we should make it a Catholic country, how long do you think I'd last there? The answer is not very long, and rightfully so. And you see, that's consistency. I believe that Pakistan belongs to Pakistanis. I believe that India belongs to the Indians. I believe that China belongs to the Chinese. I believe that France belongs to the French. And I absolutely and most importantly believe that Ireland belongs to the Irish. Ireland is for the Irish. This is our country. We've only one crack at the whip here, lads. So what's happening right now is people are realising we're being replaced as well, and it's coming en masse. You wouldn't believe the things that are going on here, but I try to detail them as much as I can. So here you have, please vote number 1 for diversity, inclusion and New Ireland. So basically, I mean, I'll get through those words individually, but diversity again means less Irish people, less white people. Inclusion means you've had enough time, Paddy, it's my chance now. That's a chancer statement as far as I'm concerned. And New Ireland, that is a phrase that sickens me. Sickens me. We have ancestors that are buried beneath this soil, and these people, like this guy, think that they can roll into town and say things like New Ireland. I perceive things like that as an absolute threat. That's my perception of a comment like that. What do you mean by New Ireland? Because I tell you what, it's my people and my ancestors that kept this civilization the way it is. So how dare you think you're going to walk into my country and tell me what I should be doing? Fix your own fucking home. How about that? That's what you should be doing. And now we're starting to understand why people get agitated. Because you come from a country of 240.5 million and yet you think you can roll into my country and tell me what to do? You've got another thing coming. So anyway, moving on here, you see the post itself has garnered 289,000 views. Now I'm sure that someone in the political party that runs analytics looks at that and goes, oh my god guys, we've got nearly 300,000 views on this account. Oh, hang on here, because this is what the Bell Ninja Knight does. He looks at this and he says 585 comments, 28 likes. You have been roasted in the comments here. You have been upended. And this is another marker for Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil and all of the other parties that are out there are pretending like there is no issue with immigration. You can't buy a house. Oh, that's terrible. Well, we need to build more. No, hang on. You're entering more people into the country though, and they are outbidding people. They're directly linked to the housing crisis, along with every other crisis that's going on. They've exasperated it. And what we have is a government and politicians that have failed to do their jobs over countless years and have failed to be held accountable for what they've done. And now they're going, well, let's bring Johnny Furner into it as well, so they'll forget what we've done. No. You're culpable for all of it. The sooner investigations actually happen into these politicians and what they've done, the better. You know, it would be answered in the Gardaí well to be getting up off their holes and getting in and start investigating the politicians that are in the Dáil that are allowing this sort of stuff. Why do we have people running in our elections that are not of this country? That is absurd to me. Ancestors, like I said, beneath the ground, people that fought in 1916 might well not have turned up Because could you imagine showing this type of shit to fucking Michael Collins? He'd be like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, they'd be looking at it going, sure, what's the point? Mick O'Keefe here says, have a look at this man's TikTok. He brags about getting deportation orders revoked. 468 likes. So he is absolutely blah 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 this fella in the response. Now that is horrendous. If you were being deported and you were being removed from this country, there's a very valid reason for that happening. And you're out there going, look what I did. Play silly games, win silly prizes is what I'd say. Vote number 1, cultural and educational panel. Now they're saying that it's the link in here is Suite 410, the Capel Building, Meredith Abbey, Dublin 7. So he says he's a solicitor and a notary public candidate, Shannon Aaron 2025. Now the amount of goofballs that are going to be running for this thing is going to be unbelievable, and I'm looking forward to covering it because you best believe I will be covering that. But the amount of goofballs that are coming out of the woodwork for this sort of stuff is going to be hilarious. And what I mean by hilarious is it's just going to expose the regime even more. I mean, we constantly do it all the time, but we might as well keep doing it. So he says, I'm honoured to seek your number 1 vote in the cultural and education panel in the upcoming Shannon Aaron election of 2025, having been nominated by the Law Society of Ireland. Like, what do you mean by culture? Like, you talking about Irish culture, you're talking about your own culture. Like, how do you mean that? There's nothing that's after being extended into that to understand what you mean. I've been an active Fianna Fáil member since 2017, so 7 years in the country, 8 now, I suppose if you count 2025, if you want to say that. And that's tell you, Paddy, what to do. Mad. I volunteer as secretary within our migrant network to help champion diverse voices, so voices that aren't Irish, within our party and, most importantly, in our communities. Who cares? But the fact that this guy thinks that this is a statement that he can run on and win on is alarm bells, guys. In 2019, I contested the local elections in the North Inner City ward, and I now want to bring my unique background. Unique background? There's 240.5 million people like you. What do you mean unique background? And then you've got the other fella, Umar Al-Qadri, didn't work out too well for him either. An experience to the Shannons to speak for the voiceless in contemporary Ireland. What do you mean the voiceless? Who do you mean by that? You see, the fact that you've gone with diversity and inclusion there, like, and then you're running with this immigrant stuff, like, and migrant stuff, this is your key points and focus. Like, are you going to start voicing things for the far right? Is that what you're going to do? Because talking about voiceless, it's people that are of the right that have said, no more to this now. That's the voiceless people that are within politics. And people look at, for example, November in the election that happened there, doors taped shut. Imagine that. 500,000 people allegedly on the register. Nobody knows who they, where, what they voted for, who they voted for. Some suspect things and dealings went on there. You've got Simon Harris, for example, 15th count on the last election. The election that just occurred, elected on the first count. Not one person, even though that this country is fed up with what's going on and is totally sick of the immigration situation, not one person from that background that has been standing up and actually giving a voice to the Irish people and actually being a voice for the Irish people, not one of those people elected. Suspect, to say the very least. You've also got Matty McGrath, who has allegedly lost his speaking rights within the Dáil. So that means that absolutely nobody within the Dáil is speaking for the Irish people. Suspect, to say the very least. So what do you mean by voiceless? And contemporary Ireland as well too is another sickener. It's like, paper out the cracks, lads, don't worry about what come before. We was Irish. We was native Irish. As a practicing solicitor and qualified barrister who specialises in immigration law, like, I mean, that's another red flag there, I would say. I have years, like, if you're getting them out, I'd say, good stuff. But when Mick O'Keefe posted that over there and it's like, no, he's not getting them out, he's talking about keeping them in. Negative opinion I have there. I have years of experience supporting those in poverty and traumatic situations. Like what? I believe that my many years of advocacy will allow me to make a huge difference if elected to the Shannon. How though? Despite suffering considerable and consistent abuse from reactionaries. Now, lads, I'm not even joking here, right? But this is actually how ridiculous these people are. You are now being classed as a reactionary. You don't like what I'm doing, so guess what I'm going to say, guys? I'm going to say, I'm not going to put on a different accent, you know what I'm saying? You could talk like this, but now that's okay for me to do that because Micheál Martin did a Chinese accent not too long ago, he did, and he got away with it, so there's no issue with me doing anything like that, okay? So I'm going to point that out there. But when he's talking about reactionary, he's talking about people that have a disagreement with him. And these are the types of words, and you see, these people think that they're cute hearers, but they're not. They're not cuter than people that are media literate and have read into these things over the last couple of years and understand what's going on. They try to label people as far right. They try to tell people that they're reactionaries. They want to tell people they're bigots and nistophobes. They then have gone to the ultimate attempt at slaughtering people, which is calling you an individual from 1930s Germany and 1940s Germany, and they want to say, that's who you are. Okay, well, you know, you're at a point in time now here where this country, you're being replacing it, so reactionary is not just it anymore, it's hang on here for a sec, there's a problem. So anyway, from reactionaries due to my work on behalf of the immigrant community over the years, my passion for speaking out for the voiceless burns brighter than ever. Standing in this election, I stand firm with those who have a right to be heard. You can look, here's the thing. You can be heard all you like in your own countries. Like, that's the thing. And that's where people are coming from now in Ireland. They're going, yeah, no, I don't want to hear from you at all. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Very simple. In this election, I'm humbly asking for your number one vote to help strengthen our link with those communities and fight for what is fair and just in Ireland today. Expand upon that point there. What do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by that? How more fair and just can you get? To be honest, it's very unfair and unjust the way people can roll into this country and be given keys to a house and after doing nothing and have no plans on doing anything. So what do you mean by that? How is it fair then the likes of estates that get built have to have at least, I think, 30% of it be social housing? How is that fair? How is it fair that people that go into those places and pay upwards of 300 and 400,000, our own people, by the way, have to pay that then, and behind them could be a gang that's living there that's not from this country and haven't done a day's work? Like, that's absurd. And I say that as well, even including our own people. Like, I don't think people should be buying in an estate and an estate being given a house to some person who's done nothing. I don't believe in that at all. I believe if you're at nothing, you should be just out, wedged out together like the Gettrs, like what they had in the likes of the Bronx they did in New York. They had the right idea. You don't want to do anything, do you not? Right, out you go there, you're out to the Bronx there, you're all together, they're all doing nothings out there, good luck to you. You know what I mean? Leave you off to your own devices. So anyway, I'd be delighted to discuss any issues you would like to raise with me as part of this campaign. Please don't hesitate to get in touch. It's Misha Lamas, and he says then Imran Khorshid. So that's his phone number there, he's left it on that leaflet, and that's his email there, imran@dailykhorshid.ie. I wonder if people would get any response in an email from this guy as to expand on the points that he means. Who is he talking about? And if they could ask him about the comments that's been made here on TikTok there, where Michael O'Keefe has pointed out that this guy is bragging about getting deportation orders revoked. I wonder how many responses you get there. You see, here's the thing, and I mean, it takes, I think, probably one email to either be given some sort of snotty reply or not get a reply at all. Because let's look, my opinion is this: contact them through email. And when I mean that by respectfully, peacefully, logically, and ask him those type of questions and see if he actually stands firm with what he's saying here, which is, I believe people that don't have a voice should have a voice and all of this sort of stuff. See if he gets back to you there and see if you're given any sort of positive response when it comes to that. Because I'm telling you now, that's the way to be treating these types of things. Instead of leaving this fella going and making fun of him, which is absolutely what should be happening anyway, message him and say, here, what's the story? What are you talking about? And see what gets back to you. And look, to me, it would give you a very clear indication as to where this guy stands. And to be honest with you, it would be something that you'd be able to say. You could either say, well, in fairness, he got back to me and he said this, or, well, look what he's saying, and, you know, you understand where these people are coming from and what they're all about. But I think ultimately, when it comes back down to it, to the brass tacks of this, I think it's amazing that Ireland as a country, we have fought for 800 plus years against British oppression. The government have weaseled their way into the likes of being subservient to the EU and have become basically ambassadors for those people that are over there. So highly paid ambassadors for doing nothing and selling out our country from beneath our feet. And now we've got people that are coming in here that are not only being, in my opinion, aggressive with this sort of language, but being dismissive. Like, that's the other side of this as well. Not only are you trying to poke me in the eye with that sort of language, you're also telling me in the same breath to move on now, go away from me. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think that should be tolerated whatsoever. So when I see words like diversity and inclusion, I have to be honest with you, it's like a spider sense, like Spider-Man when the spider sense goes off. I'm looking at that going, this is bad. Bad track record is what I would say. What sort of laws does the likes of Pakistan have? What sort of things are they into? Are they into anything that would be deemed not good for the civilized world across here in the Western world? That could be a talking point for sure. You know, for example, Dr. Umar al-Qadri follows a religion, and a lot of people like to talk about that now. They like to talk about the guy who's head of that religion, and they also like to talk about the person, I would say girl, child, that he married. Have a look into that if you don't know anything about that, and think to yourself, is that someone that you agree with, or is that someone that you disagree with? Because to be honest with you, on the whole, there's only one true religion as far as I'm concerned, and it ain't theirs, and it ain't any other religion. It's the Christian religion is the one and true. So if you don't have those types of values, and you don't have that sort of idea in mind, and people say, oh, Christian values has turned the other cheek. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's what you tried to tell people it was over the years. You tried to denigrate, and I mean, this is the thing, they tried to denigrate the religion, and they have then decided to try and denigrate this country, and this is what it's all about. It's all about whipping you into shape for them and making you submissive. Doesn't work out that way. Irish people work differently, we do. And not only that, then we hold a grudge. So this is two guys that have come out from a country, and I'll say it once more, of 240.5 million people that have told you that you're naughty for noticing what's going on. Are you going to put up with it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Good luck.